Hello and welcome to our thrifty and frugal corner of Brittany here in northwest France. And I'm Jane, one half of Frugal Queen in France.com. And that is our website that I write with my husband as we share our life here in France. So renovating our French cottage, renovating our derelict hectare of garden, and living our very thrifty and frugal life on one minimum wage. Now, he and I have been at this thrifty and frugal game for years and years and years, and it started back in 2009. And back then we were at one stage £45,000 in debt. That was a home improvement loan, that was a car loan, and that was credit card debts and a few overdrafts as well. So this brings me to what I'm going to be talking about today. And it's going to be about how we paid off all of that debt really quickly and how you can do exactly the same if you wanted to do it the way we did it. So let's get started. 10 top tips of how to pay off debt quickly. So let's go to number one. So number one is having a really good reason why. Some people call it an I've had it moment, and we absolutely had it at that time. We were paying out so much money every month to pay for the stuff that we already had. We never really got ahead. We were so normal. We had a big mortgage for a big car, for a big house, for the new car, for stuff for the house, for the new kitchen, for the, you name it. We bought it and we paid for it later. That was normal, wasn't it? We were just so normal, but we reached that point where we just didn't want to do it anymore. So that's what you need. Number one, you need a really good reason why. You need that point where you go, I am not doing this anymore. Number two, we faced those debts. We did. We owned them. We took responsibility for them, and we decided that we were going to do something about it. So number one, you've had enough of it. Number two, you face up to it and you decide that you are going to do something about it. Number three, we made a really detailed budget, and I'm ashamed to say that up until 2009, we didn't really have one. We used to lurch from one end of the month to the next, just making it through and just paying our way, and there was nothing left at the end of the month, and that's just the way it was, because that's the way normal people was. We were living payday to payday. And we decided from that moment on that we were going to make a really detailed financial budget, a forward plan of where our money was going to go. And when we got that budget together and we could see where our money was going, we could start making deep and drastic financial cuts in our life. We're going, well, that can go, we can stop doing that. Cancel this, cancel that. Do you know what? Because we took financial responsibility for ourselves, we cut our budget to the bone. And that meant we had more money to pay off our debts. And that's how we paid our debts off so quickly, is we had a budget for spending, for food, for bills, or for running the car, making sure our bills were paid, but we cut our finances drastically and deeply. So we had as much money as we possibly could to put into debts. Number four, and I can't believe saying this now, in 2009, it was the first time we started to do this. We started saving for an emergency fund. We started saving for our first £1,000 in an emergency fund. Now, if you don't have an emergency fund and you do have an emergency, you're back into running up debts again. Having an emergency fund means if the car breaks down, if your filling goes and you have to get to the dentist, the money's in the emergency fund to pay for it. It does mean to say you have to keep topping that emergency fund up to make sure you keep it at that 1,000. But we did that. First thing that we did is we got ourselves together an emergency fund, and it just made the rest of that debt payment process so much easier because we always had that there for when we needed it. Number five, to get that emergency fund in the first place and to get our finances off to a good start, We sold everything that we didn't need. We sold everything that wasn't nailed down. If we didn't wear it, we didn't read it, we didn't use it, we sold it. The Dave Ramsey advice of this is you should sell everything so the kids worry that they are next. Well, we didn't have kids living at home, but I think the dogs were worrying that they were next. We sold everything, and it was a really quick way to start and build up that emergency fund. So we're up to number 5. Quick recap, because I do love a recap on this one. Number 1, we had a no more moment. We're not doing this anymore moment. Number 2, we faced our debts. They were ours. We owned them. We took responsibility. Number 3, we made a detailed budget and we made drastic and deep cuts to our personal spending. Number 4, we started saving for an emergency fund. Number 5, we speeded up that process of saving for an emergency fund by selling absolutely everything we had that we didn't use or didn't need. Number 6, and this is where I can just quote Dave Ramsey here. We just started on that 7 babies, those baby steps to the debt freedom, and we started a debt snowball. What's a debt snowball, you might be saying? Well, a debt snowball is where you list all of your debts from the smallest to the largest. On everything except for the smallest, you just make the minimum payment. And then you throw all of that money that you were putting into saving up for that emergency fund, all of that money that you've got goes onto that one debt, and you hammer it. You throw everything at it. We used to get to the stage that at the end of the month, whatever was left, that went into that debt repayment as well. Every single month we would try and pay that little bit more, even if it was only £3, £4, £5 more into it, and we'd hammer it. And when that one debt was gone, we then took everything that we were paying into that one, and then we rolled that onto the next, and the next one, and the next one, and we just kept going. So number 6, we started a debt snowball. Number 7, we started and made a visual aid that we could see on our kitchen wall and watching that debt come down. And we did it in 1% increments, 1% at a time. We owed £45,000. 1% of that is £450. Every time we knocked off £450, we coloured in a line. Every time. And every time that we hit that 10% mark in there, we coloured it in a whole different line. So we could see 10%. 1%, 1%, 1%, 10%. So we gave ourselves a really good visual reminder, and we could see that. And every time we came into that kitchen, we could see that debt was going down. It was a really positive thing to do that. Number 8, the reason why we got our debts down as quickly as we did is we took on extra work. My husband did overtime every Saturday, meaning for 2 years he worked 6 days a week. I took on extra work as well. I was a teacher. I took on exam marking 3 times a year. I privately tutored Tuesday, Wednesday and Thursday after work every single week. On Saturdays, I used to do tutoring on Saturday mornings. When that tutoring season ended, when the exam season started, I used to go and work on a holiday park. I used to go and work and I used to clean caravans, and on a Sunday I used to do more cleaning, and I used to do relief work, and I used to go and do cleaning the bars, cleaning the showers, and I used to do that too. And it's like you're thinking, but you were a teacher, why you were doing that? Because it was easy work to get, and I knew that they needed those workers, and I knew I could do that all through the school summer holidays as well. And I used to do that June, July, August and September, and I did that every year for 3 years, and it really brought all of my debts down as quickly as I possibly could. We carried on selling anything that we didn't need. So anything that we came to the end of its use of, we didn't need it, we sold it. Even if we only got a tenner for it, that went into paying off our debts. We had lodgers. We took in trainee teachers, we took in trainee nurses, we took in trainee vets at one stage who were on work placements. We put our names on the list to have these people to stay with us. They used to come and stay Monday night, Tuesday night, Wednesday night, Thursday night, go home for the weekend. So it gave us a bit of respite from them. I did extra writing work. I monetized my blog that I had then. I did anything and everything to earn more money. Coming back to Dave Ramsey and those baby steps, he will say, you got one job, get another job. If you can't get a good job, get any job, but earn more money. Number 9, we stayed focused. We stayed focused from the beginning of the proceedings to the end of the proceedings. And if you take your eye off it for a minute and just think, oh, we'll just stop. This month we won't overpay our debts. This month we won't pay into the snowball. This month, you know what the heck? We'll go away for the weekend. We didn't. And that's how we paid off our debts quickly. We didn't drop the ball. We didn't lose our focus. We just absolutely kept our heads down and kept going for it. So there you are, number 9. Keep your head down, keep your shoulders to the wind, keep going, keep focused and keep at it. You will get your debts down quicker that way. Number 10. We knew these were coming. We had to be prepared for the problems and the pitfalls that life were going to throw at us. You know that moment when you sat on your glasses, you've broken them, you've got to go and buy a new pair. When the car breaks down, when a tyre suddenly blows, all of those things that eats into your emergency fund. And that means you have to stop the debt snowball maybe for that month, and then you have to top up the emergency fund again and then start that debt snowball again. But you have to be prepared for that, and we were prepared for that. And we just made sure that we always went back to that next. So that baby step was 1, keep that emergency fund topped up to 1,000. And then we were back to baby step 2, which was snowballing our debts. So there we are. We paid off £45,000 in 23 months. We went on after that with that same absolute intensity to bring our mortgage down. I'm looking back now, and I think sometimes if you say it really quickly, it sounds really easy. I'm not going to lie to you. It wasn't easy. I'm not going to lie to you. It wasn't nice. But I came here to give you the advice on how to pay off your debts quickly and get it over and done with and get on to living a really good life. And there it is. So number 1, have a really good reason why. And the biggest reason why is to say, I don't want to do this anymore. I've had enough of this. I don't want to do it. Number 2, face up to those debts. Own them. They're yours. Nobody gave them to you. You did it. You've got to do it. The only alternative if you don't do it is to stay in debt. So number 2, face up to it. Own it. Number 3, really set yourself an absolute budget. And if you go and look at somewhere like moneysavingexpert.com and go and download a budget planner and look at everywhere your money is going. When you do that, you give yourself a pay rise because you can see where your money is wasted, and then you can make deep and drastic cuts and free up all of that money to go into paying off all of your debts. Number 4. We started an emergency fund. So number 4, this is what you need to do. You need to start an emergency fund. Number 5, to get to that emergency fund, packed out with that £1,000, euros or dollars as quickly as possible. You need to do things that are drastic. And one of those is sell everything you've got that you don't need, you don't use, or you can live without. Number 6, start a debt snowball. Number 7, make some kind of visual aid and reference that you can see every time you go into your house, that you can see that debt coming down. Number 8, get as many other jobs as you physically can do. Work weekends, work in the evenings, work 2 jobs, 3 jobs. If you can't get a good job, just get any job, get a better job. All the time be looking into ways of getting in more money. It's the only way. Then you will pay off your debts really quickly. Number 9, stay focused. Don't drop the ball. Don't lose your eyes off what you're looking at. Don't just think, oh, I'll quit this for a couple of weeks, a couple of months, and I'll come back to it. Don't. If you do that, it will slow down your debt repayment process. If you keep focused and keep at it, you will pay your debts off really quickly. And number 10, be prepared for those pitfalls. Be prepared for the fact that your tyres are going to blow, or your glasses are going to break, or your filling's going to fall out, and you're going to have to dip into that emergency fund. You're going to have to stop the debt snowball, top up the emergency fund, but immediately start that debt snowball all over again. Whew, that was a quick one today, but I do hope it helped you. We now live the life we've always wanted to live. We have no debts, we have no car loans, we have no mortgage. And like I said, we live on one minimum wage, and we do so happily. So it's worth it in the end, isn't it, to pay down all of those debts. Thank you so much for stopping by here again. If you've liked what you've seen today, please give it a like. It'd be great if you could leave me a comment, especially if you're on your debt repayment journey, or that you did it yourself. And most of all, so you don't miss anything in the future, hit that subscribe button. And I will see you next time. Thank you so much, and goodbye.